Also, as an additional thing as well about Ubisoft, and I sorry, I just it irked me.
Yeah.
They're calling their newest game, it's called Skull and Bones, the pirate game. Essentially, it's just Ubisoft's version of Sea of Thieves. They call it a quadruple A game rather than triple A game.
Oh boy! Oh my god!
We're trying to coin new terms to get people interested and talk about it. It's like, is it or is it not just Sea of Thieves again, but this time for every single platform because you pretty much want to have the most money in any other developer in the world?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's also the same, it's identical to whether they use the word iconic for something. Here is this character's iconic hat, who you don't know because you're just going to buy the actual game where the character's featured in. I will never appear again in any other franchise.
Oh dear.
I can't remember what the fucking character's name is. That's how non-iconic the character is.
I mean, is it even anything they own? Is it something of theirs, or is it just random?
It's the main character from Watch Dogs. They try pushing his hat.
Oh, that guy, Adam, what's his face? That's literally it. It's Adam, what's his face?
Yeah, it's like you didn't appear in Watch Dogs 2, you didn't appear in Watch Dogs Legion, but it's an iconic hat. You don't know what iconic is. They don't know what triple A or quadruple A is. If I think of a quadruple A game, I think of a quadruple A game that goes balls deep on everything and has everything, including, brace yourself, single player content.
But to me, when you say quadruple development, I just think, what, do you own an island of just developers now? Is that what you have? Because you need a lot of people to make shit like this these days.
Yeah, that just irked me. I don't know why. This really irked me.
Yeah.
Anyway, going on to the movie news, because we had not a lot of movie news, but we had a teaser for the model of Shadow showing off his new shoes, which very high tech.
Yeah, but still getting his rocking air shoes. They're still around.
Yeah, there's like kind of like Sonic's was not fully like his, but but recognizable as Sonic's.
Yeah,
I mean, Knuckles' and Tails' shoes were pretty much identical, just with added.
It was funny because I mentioned this before. If you look at how he appeared in the end of movie 1 and how he appears in movie 2, it's like they have changed him up a bit, and his shoes do change. They went from like slip-ons to like full-on lace shoes. So, but they're still like what people know his shoes to look like.
Yeah, I can't remember. Tyson Hess had a little thing on Twitter. I'll get to that when we get to the next piece. Okay. And eventually we were given a release date of December 8th, I believe.
December, at least. There's some of them saying 8th December.
Yeah, very much December, and we have the recreation of the Adventure 2 logo for movie 3.
Yeah, well, it was many things. We have their own version of Adventure 2's logo. We have a snippet of what sounds like familiar music, and the unfamiliar and the very familiar laughter of Jim Carrey, which the big thing is, he's back for round 3. Yeah,
Jim Carrey is back. Even though he announced his retirement from acting, it's like he rarely, and I mean very rarely, does sequels.
I mean, he rarely does 2 more. I mean, he's only ever done 1 sequel to 2 other films, but this is the first time he's done, now 3. This is the first time he's ever done 3 movies in a row.
Yeah, the other 2 were Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. And again, I have to be honest, I think us 2, we kind of knew he was going to come back. I think there was all that umming and ahhing about would he, retire after movie 2, but I had a feeling he would be back for this one at least. If he's going to retire, he'll do it at the end of movie 3.
Yeah. Just give him a fat suit, please.
Yeah, he has mentioned, this is the thing, he has mentioned before, if I'm going to do another Sonic movie, I'm going to be in the fat suit. So I'm waiting for that to pop up in one of the trailers. I'm waiting for that to pop up. I'm assuming, but put it this way, I'm assuming that supposedly the reason he's got so big is he's tried to get rid of Sonic twice, and he's just failing now. He's gorging himself from foods. That's the excuse you can have for him being tubby now.
Oh, he's comfort eating or trauma.
Exactly. He is beyond comfort eating, that man, after what he's been through.
I preferred your theory where he got fat from allergic reaction to mushrooms.
I did, yeah. I mean, that was a fun idea. I thought that would be a fun way of getting away with it, but, either way works now. So I guess for movie 3, we will see rounded out Eggman.
Yeah. The familiar music was a sting from Live and Learn. Mm-hmm. So Paramount has the rights to use that track.
Yes.
It's not Crush 40, apparently.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so when this thing came out, there were people trying to ask Johnny of all people, so what do you know of this? And he did hint in a tweet saying, "Oh, this sounds familiar." And then I think someone on Instagram asked him, have you involved in this movie?" He just outright said, "Yeah." And then later on, weirdly enough, through Sonic Stadium, he just outright said, "They are going to use the track. I'm not sure in what context, in what way, but it isn't. We've allowed them to use the score. We allowed to use the track in the movie in whatever way they want." So we don't know how they're going to use it, whether it's just for. Do you remember in movie two's announcement, sort of a logo trailer, that they had a version of a like Emerald Hill theme, Emerald Hill Zone, but it never appeared in the movie. So I'm hoping this time they bothered to put it in the score. I would like it if they put Live and Learn within the score of the movie.
Movie 2 had a very lacking amount of familiar themes.
I mean, the irony is that there was the drowning theme in there for a brief moment, but it's so subtle you wouldn't notice on like the first or second watch through of that film unless you literally keep your ear out on the soundtrack.
Yeah, I think they almost used Eggman's theme from Unleashed.
I mean, they already have their own theme for Eggman in this movie, so that's the thing. It's like they've already made up their own sort of signature tunes. It's just the fact that they've yet to really woven in like the other ones just for like fun or just like, to put it in context of what's going on. I mean, they can do it. I mean, everybody's seen obviously the Mario movie where they just went ballistic with that stuff. So presumably that might be if anything, if Mario has done anything for the Sonic movies, it's probably thinking maybe we can get away with putting in the game tunes in here somewhere. Maybe.
It had to be more later themes anyway because Dreams, those are copyrighted. Good.
Yeah, that's the thing, because some of the tunes are copyrighted, and we've already talked about Sonic copyright music already before. So the fact that they're allowing this to be in here is a good sign. How and when it's going to pop up, we don't know, but The
only acceptance I will have for Live and Learn to appear in this game is that you do the recreation at the end of Sonic Adventure 2 itself, and we have basically the Sonic X movie version of the ending of Sonic X Season 3. Season 2, sorry. Just in the Japanese version. I don't know why I didn't include it in the English version. Just
again,
go full power, Super Sonic and Super Shadow, stopping the arc, and you hear Live and Learn in the background.
Yeah, again, it's to do with licenses. I know how, weirdly enough, I've been listening to a podcast series called For Kids Flashback, which they actually asked people from past cast and crew members who worked for Kids how things happened and stuff. I even found out particularly how they even got their hands on like One Piece, which is an interesting story. Give it a listen if you want. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't too fussed with that, but I think because it's the movie, I think you got to put it in here. That's the ideal way of putting it in. You either put it in here or you put it in the end credits. I think those are the two big options you can have.
Yeah, and the laugh at the end was definitely Jim Carrey as well.
It is definitely Jim.
Yeah, people were like, "Is that Shadow? Who's he now? Who's Shadow?" Shadow has been cast, but not officially announced who. I'm still want John Berthnell to actually be Shadow because I think he's fucking perfect. John Berthnell plays the Punisher in Marvel show.
Okay, that's an interesting cast list.
I want him. If not him, you get an alumni who actually has voiced Shadow, like Jason Griffith.
That's the thing I'm hoping for, because if they bothered to get Colleen as Tails in, like they did at the end of movie 1 and then movie 2, it's like, I think you can get away with that, like having someone who's played Shadow.
David Humphrey, get him.
I don't know if he's available. I guess if he's up for it and gets the money, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I mean, at the minute, we're still dealing with Hayden Christian might be playing Shadow. It's like, does he really want to play another edgelord dude that's been memed on the internet to death? I don't think he wants that. Even if the money's good, I think he's probably not going to do it. But
considering the reaction to him in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I won't be surprised if people do allow him. He actually was welcomed back with open arms.
No, I mean,
once people grew the fuck up, at least.
Yeah, again, I got nothing against Hayden Christian. I just think it just feels like it's like, haven't we done this before type deal? But already that joke. I've already seen people doing the high ground joke with Sonic and Shadow. So already,
I've seen the sand joke with Sonic and Shadow.
You've seen the sand? Yes, of course, we have to do the sand joke. Yeah, but
as far as movie news, that's all we have.
Actually, one of the bit of movie news that we should mention is that at one point, we'll get into the next thing, is that there was a leak of storyboards from movie 3 and the Knuckles spin-off show, which I can say at least I haven't seen them. I mean, some people have, and they have revealed certain aspects of what they're going to do in movie 3, which, they're going to do their own thing. Basically, they're going to do a version of Adventure 2's narrative, the Project Shadow stuff, but they're going to do it in their own way. Like, we kind of know going in, that's what they're going to try and do.
Yeah. I'd prefer not to look for any leaks, really.
Me either. So we can say neither of us have seen it because ideally we want to go in and watch it on its when it's released and actually just see the surprises for ourselves, whether it be good or bad. So
yeah. Well, tying into the Sonic 3 movie, which is officially as an integral, is we finally have a trailer for the Knuckles series appearing on Paramount Plus this April.
Yes, finally, April 26th. That's the date.
Does the UK have Paramount Plus?
We do. I think the deal is you're getting a day earlier before us, but we do have Paramount Plus in the UK. So
I just know you don't have HBO over there.
No, but then again, HBO. I mean, at this point, it's given Warner Brothers is going up and down like crazy. I mean, at this point, is it really a point to have it if they're just going to can it halfway through?
Yeah, I just want to take Zala's balls and put an elastic band around it until it goes really tight.
Yeah. I mean, given the fact that again, brief tangent, the Kylie vs. Adapt Me thing that was going to get canned and then we thought was going to get on other streaming services are now in danger of being canned for good. So yeah, that's going.
They really want the tax write-off, or they want double or triple the amount it costs to make it.
I know, it's like it's one thing it's either we write it off to get money or we distribute it to get and ask for a higher price and not bother. And then if they don't give us to us, we're still going to put it on the shelf. So that's going to go like fucking wildfire, ain't it?
Yeah, just all these movie credits that people can use for resumes goes completely out the window because you inherited a bunch of debt, you colossal
twatbag.
I can't say the word right now.
I'll say twatbag. I'll use that for now. Keep your eye out. We may talk about that in the future, how the hell that's going. Anyway, yeah. Knuckles.
Well, Knuckles, yeah. Trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Fun. First of all, I'm surprised he actually got Idris Elba to voice him again. Actually, the entire cast to reprise roles in a limited show as well.
Yeah, I mean, the irony is that there was, when movie 2 came out on like DVD, Blu-ray, they had the little short drone home, which Ben was the voice, but Tails and Knuckles, were done by different people. So that was kind of odd, but for this, obviously, they got Idris and the rest of the cast in, to be in this.
Yeah, they actually got Maddie back, which I'm surprised.
Yeah, funny enough, Tom has not appeared in any of the trailers, which does make you wonder, like, what is he doing at the minute? What is Tommy Boy up to?
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe
I don't think as well. I don't think
that's a job that Wade isn't able to do. Maybe that's what he's doing.
Yeah. The little tangent I said about Tyson Hesse, who has went on to do many projects involving the animated stuff that we all love.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember him for the Sonic Adventures comic, and that will never leave my head.
I mean, give it this way: he started off doing just silly, jokey face images, and now he's actually working and collaborating with most of the Sonic media in some form. Like
I was in charge of redesigning Sonic from the movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
People have actually suggested that the Sonic used in this trailer, this show, is different from Sonic 2 and 1, or even Drone Home.
Yeah.
But no, Sonic 2, Drone Home, and Knuckles, and eventually I guess Sonic 3 as well, all use the same model. Sonic 1 looks different, but I'm guessing that because of the crunch of actually redesigning him and putting him implementing into the movie. Didn't actually finalize the design, but Sonic 2 was, perfected.
Well, they had more time. I mean, to be fair, it's like I think part of it is down to he looks taller. I think that's what people are assuming that he looks.
I think he focused on the wrinkles on his head when he actually furrows his brow.
Probably, yeah. I mean, for the most part, like again, I think they have updated the model a little bit. It probably is still the same one from
apparently it's different rendering techniques that were used.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's the rendering that's changed rather than the model itself.
Yeah, he says the rendering was slightly different. Like when you get good at something and you use different techniques, it becomes a lot faster. But you always find little things to actually tweak. So I'm not suggesting that the model is different, but it has been tweaked to actually render better.
I will say there's one or two shots in this thing, because ironically they do show clips from movie 2 here in the trailer, which you can see like there's one or two shots with Knuckles that don't look as good as he did in movie 2. But again, because it's a streaming show, whether it's a feature film, although you could argue this is technically a Sonic 2.5 movie anyway, because let's be fair, most streaming shows are movies split into episodic chunks.
Yeah.
But again, it looks good. I think, for the most part, the VFX are still on standard for what the previous movies have done. So yeah, they've done a good job.
Yeah, right now it's just the plot itself just seems a bit odd.
Yeah, well, the stuff seems to be that, Knuckles is still hanging around Green Hills, not quite sure what to do now that the world is temporarily saved for the moment. And in this case, he's trying to, I guess, keep himself busy. In one case, he turns the history of the Wachowskis' household into a gladiator arena for the doll to face off the mailman.
Which, give props to the mailman actor, because he looks so frightened and confused at the same time.
It's the fact that, the other thing that made me laugh is the fact that he's given him a glove with nails, like Knuckles is giving him a weapon just to fight off a dog.
I laughed so hard at that. I don't know why. It just got me.
Yeah. I mean, I think at that point, that's when Maddie just like, no, we can't deal with this in the house type deal.
Him just relaxing outside, just eating a whole bag of Cool Ranch Doritos as well.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I'm hoping that this in movie 3 does is like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a little hut outside in the garden. Like, he doesn't live in the house. He lives in the hut. He lives in the hut or in the tree, maybe, after movie 2's ending.
Yeah. Yeah, about the plot as well. It's like, okay, you got some kind of pseudo Robotnik who's really retrofitting all of Eggman's tech and all that.
Yeah,
and utilizing the same kind of Quill energy, which again is probably not unlimited compared to Sonic's.
Yeah, I mean they seem to have the same energy, but I think all three of them, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, probably emit the same energy depending on their abilities, I guess.
The problem is that this is the exact same fucking plot as Spider-Man: Homecoming.
I mean, it's doing its own version of it. Let's be fair. It's not, it's doing its own spin.
Yeah, it's
It's
a pseudo Robotnik, and you got two lackeys as well. It's just like, I'm gonna call you Sleet and Dingo, okay?
Well, might as well. It is a tradition that in the Sonic universe, there's a main villain who's going to have a lackey in some form. Yeah, the guy.
People are hoping the guy's name's Snively, but I don't think it will.
No, I don't think it's so. Yeah, so the casting. Well, you mentioned it. The casting for this. So the guy in question is called Rory McGann, and he's known as the Buyer, and the other two people are agents, possibly connected with Gunn. Maybe they're working for Gunn undercover. That could be the gimmick.
Or an offshoot. There's always an offshoot. Yeah.
So probably that. Yeah. So that seems to be the deal. But the main setting of the show seems to be that Knuckles is going to spend some time with Wade, and similarly, I guess the sub is going to be Wade's going to teach him how to chill out and relax, whereas Knuckles is actually teaching Wade how to actually be a decent cop, possibly.
Yeah, just get dragged off by a biker.
Yeah, I will say that again. That was another bit that did make me laugh, is the fact they've both seen being dragged off, and both him and I guess I'm not sure who that lady is. I don't think.
It's his sister.
Probably his sister. Yeah, like somebody's there, just like, are we going after him?
Yeah, I think it's the mom. I think he still lives with his mom and his sister.
He still lives with his mother, but I can't see that being his mom. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like when speaking of Spider-Man: Homecoming, like when they first saw Aunt May, they're thinking, holy shit, she's quite young, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you never know.
And I can't get over the plot. I just can't get over the connection to Spider-Man: Homecoming, because it's just reusing old tech to get a new hero.
Well, it makes sense for this, given the fact that that if anybody, because again, the guy in question, the Buyer, that's his character's name, is supposedly he's, I guess, one of the guys who built most of the machinery for Eggman. So I guess if he's still got the offshoots of them and he's using the quills to like power up new equipment, it's like, yeah, it's not too far.
And Iron Man 2, when there's a big mech at the gang with fucking whips.
Whiplash, yeah, that thing.
That's Whiplash from Iron Man 2. Christ.
Yeah, Iron Man 2. I mean, again, let's be fair. It's not what you do; it's how you do it. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
This will
be better than Iron Man 2. Let's be real.
Probably. Well, we'll see. Anyway, one thing that we mentioned is that, again, the episodes have been somewhat confirmed because this was done during the leaks and stuff. So we got 6 episodes, and they're entitled "The Warrior," "Don't Say I Wasn't There for You," "The Shabbatar Dinner," "The Flames of Disaster," "Rio Baby," and "What Happens in Rio Stays in Rio."
The Flames of Disaster, really?
Yes, that seems familiar, doesn't it, kids?
Oh yeah, definitely. The Flames of Disaster, which should have been the subtitle for Sonic 06.
Yeah, I guess you could call it that if you want. Yeah.
I'll call it Sonic Legacy, because it's about legacies.
Yeah, I guess so. If you give us some name. Actually, one other thing is that
one of the mods is called Legacy of Solaris. Anyway.
Yeah, there you go. Actually, one thing is episode 1 is directed by Jeff Fowler. He did direct the first episode of this, whereas the other ones, they haven't announced it, but he did set this up presumably because he's so busy working on movie 3. So the man's, I can admit, I mean, this guy's been working on these stuff for like, 10 years now, if you're thinking about it? Like from movie 1 to now, he's been working on it for quite a bit.
Ever since the announcement has been working on it, yes.
Yeah, he's a busy man. He's a busy man.
But I'm looking forward to this. This is, and also as well, they knew what the hell they were doing. Even though Sega's pushing the Shadow the Hedgehog stuff in the movie verse, this year we're getting Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Yes, people are putting it out. Of course, we have now have the cinematic equivalent of Sonic 3 and Knuckles is a thing. In fact,
the thing is, though, it was 30 years ago when Sonic 3 and Knuckles happened as well.
Yes, but here's the thing. When this comes out on when movie 3 comes out on like DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, they have to put the Knuckles thing in there as a bonus. They have to.
Yeah,
because
Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles.
It has to be on there. It's too perfect of a thing not to do.
If you don't do it, Sega and Paramount, you will cause a riot bigger than the January 6th.
I mean, it's like, you have to.
That was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
I know, but it's like, come on, though, to be fair, not to that extent, but it's like you're missing. I mean, hell, we're giving you free money here for Sega and Paramount to do this. There's free advertisement. Use it.
But yeah, April 26th is when the series comes out. Mm-hmm. I may or may not binge it because I'm not exactly a sit down for 3 hours kind of person.
I would probably do it.
I still haven't watched all of Sonic Prime, to be honest.
Hmm.
I haven't finished season 2. It's just like I want to wait until the show's out. Okay, show's out. That's still another 8 hours I have to sit down for.
Yeah, I mean, the way, now you mentioned Prime, essentially, the way I viewed it, I'm going to probably view it the same way. As I'll probably watch maybe 2 episodes. In fact, when I saw these title episodes, I think they're kind of going to be like 2-parters in themselves to some degree. So I watched like 2 one day, 2 the next day, and whatever. So, I don't overdulge myself, basically.
But going back to Sega, there were, not just Sega, but a lot of development companies are laying off a lot of their staff. And it fucking sucks.
Yeah, there has been a lot of layoffs recently in the gaming industry, and it's quite maddening to see at times.
Yeah, and Tencent, which is a Chinese development company or a Chinese development house, because they own a lot of companies.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they should be stopped. They complained that last year wasn't profitable. It's like, really? Maybe laying off a bunch of fucking staff from all the games that could have been developed last year is not indication that you didn't do too well last year? Seriously?
Yeah, and it really annoys
me. EA or Activision, either one, boasted about making millions or billions of dollars last year in revenue, yet have the fucking balls or, some other equivalent that doesn't actually shrink in the freaking ice bath, is boasting about billions and laying off staff at the same time. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
This is the annoying thing, is because arguably the people who get screwed over are lower ends. Because this is the thing, when they say like they get millions of dollars in profit, it's like that's the higher up stuff. That's the people who, let's be fair, we don't even know their names half of these times.
I guarantee most of the time the shareholders, the stockbrokers, the people who actually put money into a company and expect all the money plus some back so they go out and buy a fucking 8th yacht that week.
Yeah, apparently.
Who the fuck cares about them? I don't care about them. I care about the people who are developing the fucking game. I care about the people who design characters to us, the players, fall in love with and want to actually cheer on during a game's cutscene. That's who I care about. The people that actually make the fucking games, not the CEO or the shareholders in charge who get to decide who the fuck stays and goes. Okay?
Yeah.
Because it's not exactly equivalent, but at my current day job, and my hours got cut, and suddenly they come back again. It's like, oh, I wonder why. Oh, wonder because it's part of the fiscal fucking year that the shareholders can get their money and cut corners on every single fucking employee to not pay them, so the money stays there, goes up, and look, we made profit by skimming the top of everyone who's fucking below, who's keeping your fucking company afloat.
Yeah,
not those people, I say, go fuck yourself with a rusty pry bar. Curve end first.
Boy. Ugh.
Okay, you can continue.
Well, I don't know if I could be as angry as that, but yeah, it's really annoying. And to be fair, it's not too similar to what Warner Bros. Has been going on recently. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that reason why a lot of this has happened is because obviously there was an outbreak not too long ago. So obviously a lot of people had to be either working from outside. In fact, Naughty Dog, for instance, when it hit, they never worked outside the studio, so they had to scramble together to actually make the rest of The Last of Us Part 2 remotely. But again, it's like a lot of layoffs are down to the fact that they had a lot what I understand, and again, this was something happening with Toys for Bob. One of the reasons why a lot of this is happening is because there's so much staff members, and again, more the lower end stuff. These are like probably QA people and stuff. They get the ones that get cut out because they, they're not supposedly not as important as other people in comparison. But also, it means a lot of people get their jobs lost in the midst of all these cutaways and backs. And like I said, Toys for Bob, there was this whole rumor going around that, or at least this suspicion that a lot of people have been laid off from the company, and they were supposedly the studio was going to shut down. But apparently it's now been confirmed that the studio is still around, but the actual building they were set in is not going to be around anymore. So Toys for Bob is around, but there's a lot less people, and they won't be in their original homes anymore.
That freaks a lot of people out. Say Toys for Bob, the actual people who made the Spyro Reunited trilogy, who should be working on a Spyro 4 for the Year of the Dragon. That's a different tangent.
But again, it just made me wonder, because again, we've been saying this for Crash Team Rumble, because again, that was rumored for ages to be Wumpa League, and it's explained why that game possibly was in development hell, because they were doing all these massive shuttles and firings and stuff. So it does sort of explain how that game's sort of ended up the way it is, Rumble.
Yeah. I haven't really touched in a long time. I don't like online only live service games.
Yeah,
because none of them work. None of them have ever lasted maybe the first 6 months of their life. You still have a few hundred, maybe a few thousand people still playing it. But compared to the first 6 months of players, it's not going to reach that ever again. And stop trying to tease us by getting back into the game by saying, "Oh, we can play Spyro the Dragon." Even Ripto for the first time in history.
Yeah,
no one cares because he wanted a single player Crash game. You make Crash Spark, you make a Crash 5, at least a somewhat spin-off. Why the hell could you, if it's going to be Crash Team Rumble, I'm going off on a tangent again. If it's going to be a Crash Team Rumble and it has to be this kind of Wumpa League, extravaganza, why the hell is there not a single player mode? Fuck you.
Yeah. Again, I don't know whether that was originally intended and it just got all screwed over at some point. And again, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, it's just like, I'm just assuming that a lot of this is down to just these massive layoffs and stuff, is that things get pushed around on projects. In fact, I think there was another story that there was another game, I think, from Activision that was originally going to be developed, but they just canned that because save money, apparently. So they pulled the Warner Brothers, unfortunately. But yeah, one thing I want to bring up is actually that during this whole Sega layoff stuff, there has been during this time.
The only silver lining, and I hate using that term for this, because losing your job fucking sucks. Okay,
it does.
It really does. It's not something that I would have on anyone. It's your livelihood. You're working for a company that you wanted to for maybe many years, and you just get taken off. The silver line is that they only laid off 61 employees, compared to the triple digit of maybe 500 from EA. I know Sega's not as big as a company as EA or Activision.
Yeah.
But still.
It's still quite a lot. The one thing that is kind of, but again, another slight, I guess, silver lining in some extent, that there has been a group of people who actually been trying to unionize. Like, you probably heard this for the last few years. There has been this call to unionize game developers in some form so that, people aren't going to get completely left on their own. And there has been a group called AEGIS CWA, that's basically trying to unionize Sega, and they've been doing it basically for the Sega America side. And they did mention in one of their threads that with this big layoff, they were able to save a number of jobs, because of this. They were able, because they have been trying to push it a bit more, and they've kind of gotten some pushback or whatever, but they have been able to save some of the people who've been laid off to some degree. I'll put a link probably into this somewhere later on. But yeah, that has been a big deal for a lot of people, because again, in the same way that you look at how the movie industry works, there's unions for actors and directors and writers. It's all to make sure they don't get screwed over and just left on the sidelines, if they lose their job and stuff. There is compensation, or hopefully they can get redundancy money, and that's the point of that stuff. So it is, and again, it's like I don't know that the full context myself. I'm not saying I'm a fucking expert about unionizing stuff, but again, it's like it is something that can help out a lot of people, particularly if it's a massive group of people who are not on the top end of stuff.
Yeah.
So it is annoying, and I'll end with this. I mean, the most annoying thing was that at one point, stick with Time Splitters again, we were supposed to be getting a new Time Splitters game developed by a newly formed Free Radical, but the parent company decided to shit can that as well. And from what I understand, the story goes that they managed to get a green light for it because they sort of promised, oh, we'll kind of make it like Fortnite. It'll be sort of a, battle royale type game, when the reality was apparently said, no, we're not. We're just going to do what we did before, make it single player challenge, arcade modes, you unlock the characters that way. But yeah, apparently that got screwed over. And what happened was, I remember when this layoff was happening, a lot of the former team members were getting their job offers out there. And one kind of, again, silver lining is that while that time splits game's not happening, they did show off a lot of their work. So we did get to see at least what they made for that thing, which is a nice way of saying the work wasn't completely in vain.
I just hope these people actually get their jobs back, or even then, like with how Suicide Squad's going, because live service games are a fucking bunch of million right now.
Apparently the director of the guy who directed that, along with the Batman Arkham games, he basically left. Apparently he left.
I think they formed a new company.
Yeah. So already there was something going on there. So we'll probably find out maybe a few years now.
I'm pretty sure the game was made under protest because Warner Bros. Wanted their own live service game.
Yeah.
Well, just stop firing people to save money. Just knock it off.
Yeah.
It's a practice that should be freaking illegal by this point.
Yeah, and again, this is why there's been people trying to push for unionization, because it's like this hopefully doesn't get them all screwed over, but we'll wait and see.